Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Human Accelerator. It is my pleasure to be here with you today. Week 7, we have gone through the bottom 6 chakras and we have done so well. I'm so proud of the way you guys have stuck with this. I've seen some huge breakthroughs. I've got some amazing results from some of you got to share in the last couple of weeks, and it's just inspired and fired me up and reaffirmed the power of this work. Today is going to be a little bit quicker and a little shorter than some of the other downloads because the essence of the crown chakra is fairly straightforward. So this should be about a 25-minute presentation, and then we will have some important action items for this week, and then next week we're going to move into a fun final session called The Secret Teachings of F Serpent, and I'm really excited for that. But first and foremost, let's recap the third eye. How was it for you? Did you do the concentration exercises? Were you able to stay a little more still and slow down a little bit more? And what did you begin to notice about the people around you and the situations around you? Of course, our general reminders that you are in the most advanced vehicle for consciousness on this planet, and within you is a wealth of spiritual power and abilities that only are there waiting to be tapped into. We win from within. We create changes within our own energetic structure, which then transforms the way life occurs for us. And this requires a sustained intention and a sustained set of actions. Now, today we're exploring the crown chakra. The crown, beautiful crown chakra. So put your feet on the ground, line your spine up, and most of all, imagine that there is a purple, glowing, brilliant lavender thread attached to the crown of your head that's pulling you up to the heavens. And go ahead and take a few deep breaths in. Begin to notice any sensations at the crown of your head as you breathe in. Becoming more and more aware of the greater, higher dimensional realities beyond the realm of our 5 senses that we are connected to. World wondrous. Far more than we can rationally imagine. And we should get excited because this world is what we're going to explore and connect to even more today. Go ahead and open your eyes and let's dive in. The crown chakra. Sahasrara in Sanskrit, and in English this means thousand-petaled. Thousand-petaled, implying that connection with the crown chakra gives us access to the most beautiful flower, connecting us to higher dimensional realms. This is our connection to what is referred to in the spiritual communities as your higher self. Now, I'm going to talk a little more about what the higher self actually is and some common misconceptions about it. Nevertheless, this is your connection to your spiritual essence, your divine blueprint. A blueprint that oftentimes in our life we can get off track from. We can become distracted or even forget about entirely. This is your ability to tune into guidance and even to channel. Channeling, of course, is just tapping into divine energies of different types, bringing them through your system in some way and expressing them. And of course, we can channel a variety of different things. The color is purple, and this is strongest not in anyone in particular, but truly anyone aligned with their soul purpose. Because when you're aligned with that soul purpose, magic is happening on a regular basis for you in your life. And I'm sure you've all experienced that, at least for a short period of time. This is a two-way chakra. I would not describe it as masculine or feminine, but simply more like a radio station from which you can upload your intentions and your prayers into the divine matrix, and from which you can download guidance, insight, and inspiration. So let's dive into the crown chakra a little bit more. So this is about alignment with your divine nature. This is that feeling that you're on the right track, that you're taking the right path through life. Things are starting to work out for you. You feel like you're lining up with something greater than yourself that seems to mysteriously, behind the scenes, be orchestrating things. The person that you meet at the coffee shop, the random individual you just happen to run into, the book that falls off the shelf and you just know that you need to read it, and later it inspires something great inside of you. These are the forces of the crown chakra, which are truly our connection to divine guidance, to energies that are beyond this physical space and time, but that are nevertheless undeniably real. So what happens, right, is we get into a place, oftentimes in life, where our ego, our third chakra, and our will starts to take greater control of us than is necessary. We start to drive ourselves in the direction of something we think we want. Right? And this happens for perhaps years at a time. We're in a career that we think we want, we're in a relationship that we think we want, and suddenly more and more things start to get bogged down. It feels like we're starting to swim upstream, and at a certain point we actually start to feel lost because we've lost our connection to our divine nature. And we get to something like this, where we know that the universe, that God is trying to tell us something, where we know that we're not quite on track, but we don't know what to do about it. And we're frustrated. We're looking for a way out, and we're trying to find the solution with the same thing that created the problem, aka our ego mind. We're trying to control and engineer a way out. If I just made a little more money, I could free myself from this job. If I just was able to convince him or her to be a little bit different, then I would be happy. If I'm just able to exercise some form of control, then I could fix it. But we all know how that goes, don't we? There's no fixing it, that level. It is said that you cannot fix a problem at the same level at which it was created. So the real solution is counterintuitive. It is, in fact, a knight's move. It is a 2 up and 1 over continuum chess move that seems to make no sense. And yet it is within your control, and it is quite simple. What station are you turned into? Imagine that your life has many timelines and has many possibilities. And when we tune in to a possibility and a timeline that actually lines up with your soul purpose, when we start to align our thoughts and we start to align our listening to that divine timeline, everything starts to shift. Suddenly, new information will show up directing us on our path if we are open to it and can see it. New people will come into our life to give us new direction, but only if we are not afraid to reach out and start this new pathway and make those introductions. Right? And what holds us back? Well, it's the very same ego that's trying to control the situation. The ego doesn't want to feel hurt, doesn't want to feel shamed, wants to feel good enough, and so naturally the ego is threatened by moving outside of the realm of our control. And that is why surrender is the vital part of crown chakra power. If there's one lesson that you can learn from this week, it's the lesson of surrender. And what I'm suggesting is a very conscious type of surrender. This is not simply throwing your hands off the wheel, saying, fuck it all, I'm going to go into the cupboard and grab my favorite junk food and trust that the universe is going to take care of everything. No, that's stupid. What I'm suggesting is the surrender that says, okay, universe, okay, God, I'm not fully in control. I didn't create myself. I didn't create the cosmos. I'm not the person behind the curtain. And I trust that I'm working in concert with you. I trust that you're working for my greatest good. Show me. And then you stay wide awake because the universe is going to show you. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about this third chakra, seventh chakra relationship. I've already talked about the solar plexus chakra and what it does. It tries to take control. It's supposed to take control. It's part of us. We need the ego, and we need it, right? When we talked about week 3, we talked about creating ourselves, taking control of what we wear, taking control of how we speak, taking control of the identity we create for ourselves, because we have control over a great deal. And not to take that control is irresponsible. But the seventh chakra is the opposite. It is pure surrender and the willingness to trust in a greater power. It's the balance between the seventh chakra purple and your third chakra yellow. Okay, purple and gold, right? You guys know that color combination looks really good. Well, there's a reason. It's the balancing of these two energy centers. And the divine purple comes in to help you to let go, to help you to stop taking too much control over things and to abandon a little more of your life to a divine plan. And to allow guidance to come in. So here's the big question, my friends. Are you willing to surrender the story you have created for yourself so that a greater one can appear? I believe that there is a magnificent journey here available to us. But in order to take that journey, we've got to surrender the one that sucks. We've got to surrender the one that we control. We've got to surrender the one that we conceive of, because the truth is so much bigger than we can imagine. I have not had many human years this lifetime, but I can tell you that this has been true for me time and again. And it's even happening right now. People have been pushing me. The universe has been yelling at me to do my music, and I'm starting to listen. It's been yelling at me to finish these other courses, and I'm listening. There are roadblocks to me building up Spear right now, and I'm listening, right? So I'm actively engaged in this process, and I want you to all join me in tuning into where guidance is leading you and surrendering the story you've had for yourself and being open to something even more interesting. Because your true greatness in life cannot emerge without a full yes, a surrender to it. And my friends, we are here to be great. And on the path to greatness, there are moments where it feels like it's going to kill you, where it's going to take away everything you've worked so hard to build, where you're going to be shamed and embarrassed. And yet, that is the path to Olympus. That is your freaking path. And it's in surrender that we find the grace to walk that path with some degree of sanity without flipping out and losing our shit. So another big question to confront. Do you believe that the universe supports you? No matter what has happened to you in your past, do you still believe that there is a benevolent, intelligent power, whether you want to call it God, Allah, the universe, whatever? Do you believe that there is this higher coherent order in the universe and that you are connected to it and it's supporting you? Because if you truly believe that, you'll begin to see and just interpret situations as this is happening for my greatest good. Not that the universe is trying to screw me, not that God is trying to screw me, but that everything is being orchestrated so that I can grow and evolve. Thank you for the challenges of today, right? Thank you for this big challenge I'm facing now. Thank you for the fear and the big obstacle that stands in my path that I am going to learn with your help to overcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is the attitude that evokes the support of the angels. So let me give a more practical story of how the crown actually shows up in life. The crown is subtle, it's super subtle, right? It's the highest visible vibration of purple. You can hardly see it with the human eye before it fades off into the ultraviolet spectrum. This is subtle, my friends. It's not going to hit you over the head. The root chakra is going to hit you right over the head. It's going to tell you when there's not enough money, when someone's trying to take your life, when somebody's trying to take and interfere with your space. Trust me, the root chakra will hit you. But the crown is subtle. It's a whisper. It's a whisper. So I'll give you one quick story. I'm living, this is about 5 years ago. I'm a little bit lost. No, 6 years ago. I'm a little lost. I'm living at my godmother's house. And I've been painting. I've been working on the house. I'm just kind of fixing up the house. Don't know what to do with my life at this point. And I decide to meditate. Like the little voice is just telling me, why don't you go meditate right now? And of course, the other voices come in saying, no, why should I meditate? Maybe I'll just go watch some TV. That's more immediate and fulfilling, right? but you create the space for that voice of the divine to show up in your life, and you start to listen, and magic happens. So I go to my favorite tree in the backyard and I meditate. And my meditation's pretty uneventful until right at the end of a 20-minute meditation session. And about 17 minutes in, I start to see this image, and I'm seeing this rooftop bar. Seeing this rooftop bar in my mind, I'm like hovering over it. And I noticed that it feels really good to be there in the meditation. I'm feeling like it's really cool. And I'm like, that was interesting. And then my timer goes off. I open my eyes and I'm like, well, that was an interesting meditation. And I'm about to get back to painting the house. And then I just think, wait a minute, what was that? Why was I being shown that? You see, the thoughts that pop up in your mind seemingly randomly are the ones you need to pay attention to, because those are the ones where someone or something is trying to tell you something. Begin to notice the random thoughts that penetrate your consciousness that don't seem to have a logical beginning. Those are the ones you got to pay close attention to and ask, why is it here? And so becoming more aware of your mental space, as we have last week with the third eye chakra, will make you able to recognize what is going on. And I'm aware that I'm getting divine guidance. And not only am I seeing it, but it's feeling good. And when you see something and it feels right, you need to pay attention. That's the sign. That's it. And it's subtle. So here's what I did. I got in my car. I'm like, all right, universe. If you're for real, I'm in. I'm in, right? So I get in my car. I turn on my Google Maps and I Google rooftop bar, right? Because like, what else am I going to put? And sure enough, there's a bar called Rooftop Bar in San Diego. And without hesitation, right? Without any rational thought, because this is non-rational, okay? The third chakra, very rational. You can figure things out. The crown chakra will come in and give you things that you cannot explain, right? So I'm like, all right. I get in the car. I drive to the hotel. It's a Rooftop Bar hotel at the Renaissance. It's a Westin. I walk up the stairs. I get to the rooftop bar. And there are two people creating masquerade masks. And I introduce myself. And they're setting up for a party later that evening. Now, I love masquerades, first of all. So I'm instantly like, yes, I'm on the right track. And I meet this dude, this kind of older gentleman, Iranian gentleman, and then this beautiful young girl, right? So you can tell where the story's going. So I sit down. I'm like, hey, can I help you guys? So I start making masquerade masks with them and meet this young girl. She's really cool. We have great conversation. She's at a big transition in her life. I know that she's supposed to meet me. I'm supposed to meet her. I'm kind of lonely. We end up talking all night. We get each other's numbers. The story goes from there. But all of that came from just listening to the guidance I got in a meditation that I so could have easily ignored. So where are you getting kind of those random images or those random pieces of guidance in your life, and just you're moving too fast to get what the universe is trying to tell you, to get how the divine intelligence is working on your behalf? And when you start to really listen and then act on them, you show up in the right place at the right time, like I did that night, right? And when you're in the flow like that, it's just the best feeling, isn't it? You just know that you're part of something bigger and that it's working on your behalf. So the big thing we want to do this week, there's a few key things we want to handle. And one is I want you to find the language in which the universe talks to you. Okay, I believe the universe talks to us all in slightly different languages and slightly different ways. For me, I see numbers. And the double, triple numbers on license plates and on clocks tell me information about what is coming. And it took me a process of several years to figure out my system of how it would talk to me and what it meant. And of course, you know, a very rational scientific person would say, dude, you're crazy. But for me, this system has worked and it guides me and alerts me of things, right? I get all Rain Man with it. So for me, I see numbers. Now, if you see numbers, you see double numbers, it's not enough just to see them and think, oh, like everything's cool. Like get more specific. Begin to ask what the numbers mean. What does it mean when I see a 444? What does it mean when I see a 666? What does it mean when I see a 33? Because there is a language of this cosmic matrix being spoken through the symbols and the signs. And of course, the work of the mystics and the seers is to read the signs, to understand what they say, right? But you may not see numbers. Numbers may have nothing to do with your life, and that's totally cool. There are other languages in which the universe is going to give you information, right? It could be a rush of tingles in your body when someone says something you're supposed to pay attention to. It may be a random image that pops into your mind while you're driving around. So explore this week the language in which the universe is talking to you. Get to know it, and that's going to be one of your action items this week. Also, when you feel like you're swimming against the current, right? You feel like things aren't going your way, you're taking too much control, you're freaking out. This is a sign to let go and then ask yourself, am I really tuned into my guidance right now? This is a time for surrender. It's not a time to do more, harder, faster, bigger. And it's quite difficult to do because everything in your ego is telling you that if you stop, you're going to lose and you're going to fail. You're going to die. That if you don't work harder, then how could possibly anything work out? And yet, time and again, I have experienced that letting go and doing nothing is sometimes the most productive thing you can do. So get tuned into that guidance when you feel like you're swimming upstream. This is the time for a meditation. This is the time to pause, to look at the universe as your friend and say, hey buddy, I need some help right now. And then watch what happens. Let's talk about the power of prayer. Prayer is your upload. So we've talked a lot about how you download things, right? These are the signs and the symbols that come to us to give us information from the higher realms. These are the ways that our guardian angels or other energies can direct and guide us. The power of prayer is very, very real. Okay, this is your upload. This is where you send out a prayer and intention into that matrix and you set the process in motion. Now, the power of prayer is real. I've experienced it time and again. I've watched miraculous things happen through prayer. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, atheist, whatever. Prayer is simply heartfelt intention broadcast to the universe. But there's ways to pray powerfully and there's ways to pray weakly. Many people, when they pray, sit there and they whine for God to give them shit. God, please help me make more money. Please give me a car. Thank you. I need it. I need it now. I'm so desperate, right? But prayer is modulated by the sincerity of your intention, right? True sincerity of heart, right? If you're praying from what's truly aligned for you, you're going to get a much powerful result than if you're praying for something you casually want or that you kind of get inspired and infatuated by for a short time. The deeper in your being your prayers come from, the stronger they are. And the passion and the emotion and the intensity you put behind them set them in motion through the universe. Emotion, again, is a key thing that is missed by many spiritual circles. It is not enough to be detached. When you pray like your life depends on it, trust me, the universe sends miracles, right? Maybe you've experienced that. I'm sure some of you have. So keep in mind that we have the power to download things through the signs and the symbols, like we talked about here. How does the language of the universe talk to you? And then we upload things through the power of prayer. Now, when you pray, it's very important that you pray with a whole heart, from your heart, not from your mind. And that you also let go of how it happens. Think of it like an arrow. You're going to pull back the string. You're going to flex it with all your might. You're going to release it from your heart. You're going to send the intention out, but then you just let go of it. You can't control it at that point. You've launched your arrow and it's going to land where it's going to land. And this is where you got to be aware of the subtlety of prayer and how prayers are answered. It's almost never in the way we think. God will surprise you. You got to pay close attention. Carolyn Myss says that God comes in the back door, sneaks into your life, and shows you a mysterious way in which God or the universe has always been with you. Okay, so let's review the crown chakra and then we'll get into our action items. As I said, this is going to be a shorter week. So healthy purple, it believes in a greater power and intelligence that you're connected to. It can let go of the need to control every detail of your life. right? You believe in that there's something greater working for you. So begin to intone that into your being now. There's a greater power working on your behalf. And let go of the need to control every detail of your life. Okay? Begin to leave a little more things up to the universe. Begin to be more open. Let yourself be a little illogical, okay? The crown chakra is not about logic. It's about letting go, and it's about accessing higher states of consciousness that don't make any sense to ordinary mind. Many of your genius states are waiting for you in these higher states. But you have to let go of the need to make sense in order to access them. So this is a mysterious, mystical chakra. This is a doorway, a gateway to the ineffable, to the mysterious in your life. And we're going to create this openness, this expansiveness, so that this week we can receive more of that guidance. But first, let's look at where you're at right now. So what beliefs are you holding right now around divine guidance and connection to a higher power? Do you even believe that such a thing exists? And if it is, does you believe it works on your behalf? Now, typically, if we have someone with a closed crown chakra, they're not willing to trust intuition. And they usually are locked in a cycle of struggle because they're not listening to what their higher guidance is really trying to tell them. A healthy crown chakra is allowing yourself to follow inner guidance and trust a bigger plan, to do things that don't make sense, but because you're getting the right signs that are directing you, you just trust, right? But I want to caution you against too much crown chakra action, getting ungrounded, hearing voices and looking for divine guidance, and even for simple decisions, okay? I believe that with your simple, basic, decisions around logistics and money, most of the time you just need to make the damn choice based on your grounding. It's not a time to consult your crown chakra. But when you're looking for bigger decisions, longer term plans, and when you're tapping into creativity, that is the time to ask and to listen for that guidance and to be patient. Right? Just don't get stuck in paralysis waiting for the angels to tell you what to do. I see many amazing spiritual beings getting caught, lost in the ether. And of course, when you get into that, what happens? Other beings exist in higher dimensions as well. You can get very confused by looking outside of yourself for those answers. So you've got to find that balance between taking control of your life and when you're in that situation where it calls for a greater intelligence to move through you, that's where the surrender must happen. Okay? And this discernment is a lifelong practice. Riding the bike, right there with you. So let's take a moment now. And bring your hands together in front of your chest. You've seen this in many religious traditions. The reason is that in these fingertips, in these hands, you're balancing the right and the left polarities of yourself and your heart channel, and you're evoking the heart. So with your hearts in prayer position, your hands in prayer position ahead of your heart, we're going to breathe in and let go. Tune yourself in with the awareness of a divine being that's watching over you right now. With the awareness of what's called the higher self, which is really the soul blueprint you came in with. Imagine that there is a brilliant light in the crown of your head, connecting yourselves up to the heaven, and that you are not alone. And with each breath, a concert of beings is listening, that the universe is listening. And spend the next couple of minutes. First, utter your gratitude, because gratitude puts you in the state where miracles and manifestation can happen. Being grateful for this opportunity and for this moment, for the blessings in your life. And now tuning into what you need from your heart, asking for the guidance, and asking for the courage when you know what you need to do. Asking for the people that support your greatest good and the insights that you need. When you feel complete, thank you, thank you, thank you. Know that it is done, and you let go. So as I've mentioned, homework is 30 minutes a day. And what I want you to do is to practice prayer. Exercise it like a muscle. You're going to make uploads into the cosmic matrix. You're going to broadcast your intention and your needs to the universe. But after you do every day, watch what happens. Use that third chakra training to pay attention to the thoughts and the strange things that happen. Pay attention to your guidance as it comes to you in meditation or in random moments of just driving around. Utter these daily prayers and track what happens. Let's pay very close attention this week. All right? As we trust the universe more. And the second big action item is to identify your sign language. How do you see your signs? As I spoke earlier, there may be numbers. There may be vibes or feelings you pick up on. There may be random images that come into your mind. But your prayer should include, God, universe, please show me how you speak to me, how I am to know your voice, how I am to know where I must go, how I am to tell the divine guidance apart from random distraction. Ask to be shown and pay very close attention. All right, my friends, let the week begin.